welcome to your fifth lesson on Python in the beginner's track with KodeCamp. Okay, so today we'll be talking about lists. Man, we are 23 minutes. We'll be talking about lists. Okay, but before that, okay, I want to explain few few stuff to us. Okay, if we let me share my screen. Let me share my entire screen. All right. So I believed we all been promoted to, I think, stage one, right? Um, answer that in the comments. I believe we've all been promoted to stage one. Okay, all right, okay. So, well, okay. What happened is that okay. What happened was that I made sure that everyone was promoted, right? So that I can actually explain this thing here for us, okay? Because to be honest with you, most people uh, didn't do well, okay? I said then few people did well, but I had to promote everyone, okay? Because I'm gonna take a few minutes to explain this thing, okay? So probably I think I think there will be subsequent tasks, okay, that will keep doing for promotion, okay, and you get promoted with over 10 to stage 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth, okay. So from now henceforth, okay, the tags, the way I mark those tags, I classify them under these four categories. Like I check for these four things, okay. So first of all, what I check for is user friendliness in your code, okay, and like how easy it is for user to actually use that program, okay. Okay, and well, that carries 20 marks. And at the same time, commenting on a code, okay. Let's assume that I give you a Python file like of over 10,000 lines of code, okay, without no comment in it. Believe me, you'll be lost in that code, okay. So practicing how to comment, okay, on our code would be helpful, and I think that one carries 20 marks, okay. Then for this other one, structuring and arrangement of code. Well, fortunately for us, okay, Python does this automatically for us, okay. Unlike C++, where you can, let me say, reference a function below, and then there's no error, but you can't do that in Python. If you do that in Python, you get an error. So automatically here it's free 20 marks because Python does this already. So free 20 marks there, okay. Then the main thing comes in here where you actually solve the problem, okay. Like that task we were given was a task to convert one temperature to another temperature, okay. Well, the thing is that people did it, got the answer. Some people did it, not actually get the answer, okay. Even with the fact that I left us with this formula, though some people didn't actually get the answer, okay. Other people, what they did was that they swap this formula, okay. Like if they are converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit, they use this formula, sorry, this other formula, and then use this other one from Fahrenheit to Celsius, okay. That was the another problem. And another problem was people some people actually added brackets here and here. Now when you do this, you've not given this thing priority over this, okay. And once Python sees this and execute this, believe me, this answer will be wrong, okay. And when you get your answer wrong, 40 marks is gone, okay. 40 marks is gone, like gone. All right. So probably in our next task, okay, we should try to consider these 4 things, okay. If we can at least solve the problem, 40 days, 40 marks, then 20 marks, you'll be promoted, okay. So if you can just solve the problem, that's the main thing, solve the problem, and then you you have your 60 marks there. I think the mark for promoting is 60. That's the minimum score you need to get promoted, okay. But let me just show you one example of a code someone did it in this code. Actually, well, if you're owner of this code, you did well, you did very well. I am the code. Actually, I gave this person 100 because actually this code has everything in it. Everything was here. So what I did is that I don't go through all this code. What I do is I don't go through all this code. So what I did is that once I paste your code, I execute it. Okay, that's what I do. Once I paste your code, I execute your code. So let me run this. So I execute this code, I say, and if you look at the interface of this code, let's say I put in my name there. You look at the interface of this code, I put in my name there, okay? And then it asks for if my temperature is in temperature, sorry, if is my temperature in Celsius or in Fahrenheit, and I put in this Celsius, okay? Sorry, and then the temperature, okay? And then if you look at this, it's kind of like a real life kind of an application. Take for instance the ATM. Okay, if you go to the ATM, you see something like "Welcome to Union Bank, Access Bank." Okay, and then as you input your PIN, all those stuff. Those are kind of like user experience, okay, and user friendliness. Okay, so when next we are submitting our tax. Oh, should I've closed that? When next we are submitting our tax, we should consider those 4 things. I don't know where I'll find those data. So I think this one. So well, with that out of the way, I don't know. I've closed that by mistake. Sorry. Okay. All right. See it. All right. So where and then this code has comment is here that says this whole block is for entering your comments. This whole block is for entering your temperature. This whole block is for asking you for the degrees. This whole block again is for converting or for all the conversion from one temperature to another temperature. Okay. So please, when next we are submitting the tax, we should consider that. All right. I don't want to waste much of our time again because we are already late. But I believe that is clear. Is there any question about that? If there's any question, you click this icon, like raise your hand, then I will meet you. Okay. Is there any question there with the tax? Okay. Um.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Like, I
Okay.
wanted to find out that are we going to be able to see our scores?
I don't know. I don't. I think I don't know about. We should, I'll find out for you, but I'm not sure. Okay. Um. I'll speak with the coordinator. Then I'll let you know if you will to see the scores. Okay. Any other question? Okay. So I believe that is that. And another thing, please, don't send me images, please. Okay, don't send me images. Send an actual Python file. Okay, some of us send images. Once you send the images, how do I execute the code? Okay, if I can't execute the code, 40 bucks is gone. Okay, in fact, the entire mark is gone. So please don't send So all right, without wasting much of our time, please. That is that with that. So in today's class, we'll be talking about lists. We'll be talking about lists. All right. And with a with okay, yeah, I think all right. I think this code here has some advanced features like the string formatting. Well, I forgot to teach you this, but I will go back because this course, like what you're actually handling today, you go back and reference the string. So along the course, I will briefly talk about it. Okay, so leave the string formatting for now. We'll talk about it. Leave the string formatting for now, please. So we'll be covering this for today's course. Okay. We're covering this, the basics, the similarities of lists with string, the built-in list built-in function, list method, how to make copies of lists, changing a value in a list, the split function, join function, as well as the list comprehension. Okay. All right. So let's start. Let's start. Okay. So um so a list is simply collection of items enclosed in square brackets and separated by commas. Okay, so creating a list, it's as simple as this. I said it's simply a collection of items enclosed within a square bracket and separated by commas. Can you hear me now? I hope you guys can hear me now, please. Just indicate that in the chat menu, please. Some people are not hearing me. Okay, okay. All right. So like I said, a list is basically collection of items enclosed within a square bracket, then separated with commas. Okay, that's what a list is. Okay, so and also let me. Okay, so uh, I'll delete this code. Whoever had that code, well, that was nice. Well done, well done. That was good. All right, so I'll delete this code for now. All right. Okay, so like I said, a list is a collection of items. Okay, so let's say we have a list of for L. All right. So what is list? It's basically collection of items enclosed within that square bracket. Okay, so whatever we put within this square bracket is known as list. Okay, is known as list. All right. And then we can have multiple items in list. Okay, now when we have multiple items, we separate them with commas. Okay, so let's say this list is a list containing integers. Okay, so we have like 4, 7, 9, and 49. Okay, so that's basically that's a list. Okay, that list there is a list of integers because all the items there are all integers values. Okay, and we can also have list of, you can say list of strings. Okay, we have something like sorry, like we have banana, we have apple. Okay, we have mango. I think this mango season, I think. Okay, then okay, so now the second list now is list of strings. Okay, because everything in this list are strings. Okay, so that's how we create lists in Python. Okay, just yeah, it's basically a collection of items within an enclosed square bracket separated with commas. Okay, that's a list in Python. Right. So then an empty list. Okay, a list can be empty. Like a list can have no item in it. Right. So an empty list is equivalent to 0 or or equivalent to an empty string. All right. So remember we talked in our previous class. We talked about strings, and we said that an empty string could be something like this, okay? And with nothing in it, that's an empty string, okay? So the same thing with list, okay? A list could be an empty bracket with nothing in it, all right? An empty square bracket with nothing in it, okay? That's what it means. It means that that list does not have any items in it, all right? So another thing is we can also use the input function with the eval attached to it, okay, to allow the users to enter list, okay, to enter a set of lists, all right. So say we wanted to, let's say we wanted to get a list from users, all right. Let me say list of like let me say list of their favorite colors, or list of their favorite artists, or list of whatever, okay. We can do that, okay. We can do that with the eval function, right? So now remember that said earlier back in our previous classes, I have been saying that the eval function, you can use it to get integers values from users, okay. Now this is another function again of an eval function in Python. We can use it to get lists from users, all right. So you have a simple code, let's say an input that gets users favorite artist or favorite color. Okay, let's keep it color, right? So you can say user colors, all right? Users colors. And then we want users to input these things by themselves, right? We don't want to guess their color for them, all right? We can let them input this thing by themselves. So instead of enter your favorite colors. Okay. And then we cover this, all right? So if we execute this code, all right, this code will let us to insert into Python our own list, okay? So if we run this, all right, we can do something like this, all right? We can do something like this. We can say blue, okay? And we can remember to separate each item with a comma. You can now say red. We can now say another thing like white, all right? So remember, anything outside the string is a variable. So you put that in the string, and then we enter, right? That with that, okay, with that we can get lists from users using the input function attached with the eval function. All right. So now from the beginning of the class till now we've known that the eval function can be used to get integers as well as integers numbers as well as lists. Okay. So that is that with the input function. So another thing, okay, is how do we print this list? Okay, how do we print list? Okay, there's no special way of printing a list. Okay, we just print it at every other argument, and Python will print it out for us. Okay, so say you wanted to print this list. Okay, this list of integers. All right. So what you can do, you can print it out for Python. Okay, let's cut this out. All right, let it be there for now. So you can print that list of L there. Okay, now you can print the other one, the string list. Okay, and let's also print the user's colors as well to be sure that Python has actually accepted that input from the users. All right. So all right, that is it. So let's execute this. All right. Okay. Now we have to put our favorite color again. So I'll go with white and black. All right. I'll use two colors for now. All right. And then we execute this. All right. So Python has just printed that out for us. Okay. That's how we print lists. There's no special way of printing it. Just use the print function and take in the list as an argument. Okay. So a list can contain all kinds of things, even other lists. Like, okay, what that means is like this list here, this list is a list of integer, right? This other list here is a list of strings, all right? So now a list can also be combination of all these things, meaning a list can can contain both an integer, strings, and even a list in it as well. Okay. So let's say we have like another one called, we have another list here called the mixed list. Okay. All right. So we have something like mixed list. All right. It means that this list can contain mixed values. All right. This list can contain mixed values. As well, this list can contain a list inside it again, all right? It can contain another list inside of it, all right? You can say, okay, all right. So I'll cut this out for now, all right? And I'll take this off, and then let's print the mixed list, okay? Okay. Okay, so you see, all right, a list can actually be anything. It can contain any kind of data types, okay? If not, this one here is an integer data type, the cat here is a string data type, and this other one here is a list inside of another list, okay? So that is that. That's basically the basic of lists. Is there any question so far? So that we can talk about it before we move on to the next slide, slide number 4. Any question, raise your hand and I'll unmute you, okay? No question. Okay. So the next thing we'll talk about is okay, similarities. Okay, what and what does a list do that a string can also do? Okay, so that's the similarities, all right, of a, okay. So now the first one is the len. This, if you remember the len function, all right, like I said, we will be referencing the string, okay, our previous classes, all right? So remember in our previous class, we said the len returns the number of character in a string, all right? That same function, when you apply it to a list returns number of items, okay, that is contained in that list, all right? So the in function again, we used it once with the string. In the string, the in function returns true or perform anything if something is contained in that string, all right? But with a list, it tells you if something is, if an element or an item is contained in that list, okay, is contained in that list, all right? So the indexing and the slicing, okay, works the same way as the strings. The indexing and the slicing work the same way as strings, all right? And then the indexing and the count as well works the same way, as well as the plus and the asterisk works the same way as string, and then looping as well, all right? So we'll look at each of these functions one by one as they work with lists, and well, we look at it again as they work with strings, okay? So I believe this was understood, so I'll just call this out, okay? Okay, so all right, so the first function there is the len function, all right? So let's say we have, oh, I shouldn't have called that out. Oh, okay, let me use this. Let me use this as, I'll call this one out. Oh, let's use those two lists, all right? So now if I say print, all right, print len of L, okay, of L. Okay. Remember in a string, the len function return number of characters, right? But in a list, we return a number of items. So if we execute this code, we should have 4 because according to this list, there are only 4 items here, right? Which is 4, 7, 9, and then 49. Okay, that's the only item that are there in that list, all right? So that's the len function on the list. So next one is the in operator. All right? So we cut this out. So now the in operator, remember with string, we combine it with an if structure, right? Because we can't just go ahead and execute in L or in list, okay? We have to construct it in a way that in a way that Python will understand it. So what we do here is we use the same structure, okay? We use the same structure, the if structure, but this time we'll be applying it on the list, all right? So now what we'll do is, let's say if the number 10 is in the list L, okay? That's what it means, okay? So now what I want to do is print, the number 10 is in the list, okay? Is in the list. I want in the, I think. All right, so it's in the list. All right, so if we execute this, all right, let's go ahead and add the else clause. Add the else clause just in case it's not there. So for the sake of laziness, I will copy this one and paste it and edit it. I say number 10 is not in the list. Is not in the list. It's not in the list. Number 10 is in the list, all right? So let's execute this and see. We have that 10 is not in the list, okay? It shows that, all right. So now if we add 10 here, okay? If we add 10 here to that list and execute this, we should now have that the number 10 is in the list, okay? It works the same way as the list, as the string, okay? It just check if whatever variable you have given it is in this list, okay? It does the same thing as that of the string. Right, so the next thing there is indexing and slicing. Indexing and slicing. Okay, so indexing and slicing. All right, let me cut this out for now. Indexing and slicing. All right, so remember in a list, okay, sorry, in a string, if you wanted to print a single character by its index, all right? I remember in a string starts from 0 to wherever the string ends, okay? Same thing with the list, all right? The list starts from 0 to wherever it ends, all right? So let me say L, the list L, yeah. So now you want to print the index, index of 0, okay? Want to print the index of 0. What we will do is the same thing we did with string, all right? Same thing we did with string. And then we execute this and it prints 4, okay? Why? Because index 0 is actually this index here, right? The same thing with a string, this index here, that's 0, okay? And then when it's 1, 2, and so on and so forth. The same thing with strings, okay? That's how we index and And for slicing, all right, so let's see let's see, okay, let's go back to our list. This our list. This was our last class. So okay, slices, all right. So this was slice in string, all right. Remember this structure, this construct, sorry, we all remember this construct, right? All right, that to slice in a string, we need the string name, the starting location, and then the ending location plus one. Okay, so that same thing applies with the list. Okay, same thing applies with the list. So if I say, let's assume, let's assign this function to x. Okay, so now if I say, remember this one is the string name, but then we replace it with the list name. Okay, so we are looking at the list called L. Okay, now with square bracket, right? So now I want to start from the first index and then end at the third index, right? The third index plus one. Remember the plus one, so we add 4 there, which pattern will print from the first index to the third one. All right, explain that 4 there. So if we go ahead and print x, all right, to see what happens there. Go ahead and print x to see what is going to happen there. And run this, all right? So now you see. Now you see, all right, see what happened, all right? Same thing with string. It moves from 0, 1, 2, 3. Explain the 4. So this 0, this 1, this 2, and this 3, okay? So all this, they work the same way as strings, okay? Sorry, let me go back to our last slide, all right? So the next thing is, I don't know why I put the index here, okay? But this is not the same thing as the other one there. Okay, so for the count, I hope there's no question so far. Right? I hope there's no question so far. We will talk about count in okay, ask your question. Go ahead and ask your question. I've asked you to unmute and ask a question.
Please, can you briefly take the indexing and slicing again?
Okay,
Please.
indexing, okay, and slicing, okay.
And slicing, yes.
Okay, let me try it again. So the indexing, okay, okay, this is the slicing. This is slicing for strings, okay. Let me comment this. This is for string. This is slicing. All right. So okay, let's bring indexing for string. So we see how it is being done with string indexing. All right. Okay. So this was a typical example where you index in a string. Okay. Now I just so in string indexing. Let me write. Indexing in string. So what in string, what we do is we put in the string name there. Sorry, string name, and then square bracket where number or value, it should be number. Sorry, value is value of index. Okay, that's how we do it in string. Okay, same thing applies. Same thing applies here. Same thing applies here. Same thing applies here with the list. Okay, so in slicing, I said that to slice means cutting out portion of a string or a list. Okay, that's what slicing means. You cut out a particular portion of a string or a list. Okay, so for for, for string, this is the structure which works the same way for list. So what we want to do is we want to slice out a particular portion of this list here, right? So what we want to do now is we write in the list name there, okay, and then followed by square bracket the value of index we wish to slice from. Okay, so now we wish to slice from the starting location and the ending location plus 1. All right, so I wish to start from the first index, because by default that's what it does. Okay, that's what it does. It starts from 0. Okay, so I want to cut from 0 to index 3. Okay, sorry, to index 3. Okay, sorry, to index 3 plus 1. Remember the 1 here, this plus 1 here. Okay, ending location plus 1, so this 3 plus 1, which is 4. Okay, which is 4. So if I go ahead and assign this to a variable, let's assign this operation to a variable x, right? And let's print the x and see what happens. Okay, and see what happens. All right, so oh okay, I think I've done something wrong there. Oh, sorry, this is actually a list. All right, this is a list. This is a mistake. All right, it should be a colon, not a comma. Okay, then we run this. What's going on? What is going on there? Okay, sorry, I forgot. For string, you put the string name. All right, for list, you put the list name. So we add our list name there behind list L and save. And so all right, so if you notice now, all right, from 4 to 49 is index 0 to index 3, because this is 0, this 1, this 2, this 3. Okay, that is slicing, cutting up part or portion of a string or a list. Okay, then as for indexing for string, this is how it works. All right, so for lists, it works this way. Right, so if I want to print out a particular value, okay, I want to print out 49. All right, so now what I want to do is to tell Python to print the value of what is here, which is give this index, and Python will print the value for you. All right, so now this is index 0, this index 0, this index 1, this index 2, and this is index 3. So if I go ahead and put 3 there, okay, I go ahead and put 3 there and execute this, we have 49. Have I answered the question? Please indicate in the chat session. Have I answered that question? Okay. So the next thing we have there is count. So did we talk about count in string? Did we talk about count in string? Okay. Okay, I don't think we did that. I don't think we did that. So the way count works, I think we did. But anyway, let me just just show you here, right? So the way count works, okay, count actually what it does is it's return the number of times, okay, a particular item or value repeats in either a string or a list. All right, so okay, let me do this. I think I talked about count, but I can't remember. All right, so so let's say we have the list L there. All right. So what we want to do now, let's assign this operation we're about doing to X. All right, now I want to count is a function. All right, it's a function. So function we it's kind of like a method. All right, so we add it. All right, like I said, we should go back and check off other method. If I didn't talk about count, it's because I said, let me go. It's because I said I said we should go back and look at other methods of string. Say, okay, and see it here. We talk about count now. It is then in a string method. What it does, it returns the number of occurrence of X in a string. It does the same thing. It does the same thing in a list. All right. So now, if I say L dot count, okay, and then L dot count, and then I go in, I go ahead and give it the number 7. All right. All right. If I print X, all right. If I print X, what it does, it will go through all this list and count how many times have 7 actually repeating. Sorry, what's going on here? How many times have 7 repeated in the list? All right. So if I execute that, it shows 1. This one here, okay, shows that one there. Okay, I'll ask the coordinator if I can actually give out this PowerPoint material, right? Then I'll let you guys have it if it's possible, right? So for now, I don't know. I don't know. So if you go ahead and add more 7 here, right? Let's go and add more 7. Let's go and add more 7 there, right? So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make it 5. All right. So if we execute this, it gives us 5. Okay, that's how count works. The count works the same way with the string. All right. So if I didn't show you with string, let me show you real quick with a string. All right. Now we say hello world. Okay. We say hello world, and then we said I said hello again, and I said I repeat. Okay, repeat. All right, repeat hello world. All right, so that's a basic string, a simple string, which I believe we all know how to create it. All right, so now if I come here and I just change here to S, all right, that's the string now. All right, and then I want to count how many times hello, all right, as repeated. All right, we want to count how many times hello as repeated. Let me change this to small h because Python is case sensitive, and I run this. That's 3 times. All right, that's 3 times. So we say this is the first time, the second time, and then the third time. All right, so that is how the count works. It works with both the string and lists. All right, so that was our last class. All right, so this other one too, the addition sign, that the plus sign and the asterisk sign. All right, you know, we can remember that in string, what the addition does is it concatenates. All right, it adds 2 strings together, and then what the asterisk does, it repeats the string over based on how many number of times you've added there. Okay, so it works the same way with list. All right, it works the same way with list. All right, so look and looking at these 2 lists here. All right, if we do this, if we print this, all right, if we print L plus ls, all right, that's the integer list and the string list. All right, what it does, it will add this other list to the end of the other list. All right, it will concatenate both of them. And then you see. So this list ended at 7, and the other list started at banana, right? So what it does there was it concatenates both of them into one list. Okay, that's what it does. So and for the asterisk, why this stuff showing like this? So okay, for the asterisk, okay, for the asterisk, what it does the same thing as the string. It's repeated based on the number of times we've actually asked it to be repeated. So if I do times 3 of this, okay, but this time I'll be doing it on this other list, right? What it will do is it will repeat this list 3 times. So what we're having banana, apple, mango, and banana, apple, mango, right? So banana, apple, mango, banana, apple, mango, banana, apple, mango, all right? So that as well happens with the string as well. Okay, so looping, okay? This looping, all right? I can we had a little bit of just use few minutes and let's see how with list and let's see how looping works with both lists. So remember our for loop construct, okay? Okay, a variable name, remember, in range, okay, whatever number we add of code to execute, all right? So if you could remember, the Bible name is anything, so you can put anything there, all right? You can put anything there. So I'll just go with I there. And then I want this loop to repeat for, what is going on in my mouse? I want this loop to repeat for 5 times, all right? For 5 times is print. So to print hello. All right. So during our loops and iteration lesson, okay, I said that the loop can be used to repeat things over and over again. Say, like for instance, we wanted to print hello, okay? Without this loop, what we would have done is print hello in multiple lines. Like that's what we would have done, okay? The loop now we can do that with just one line and put your rows based on a number of times we specified here, okay? And I also, okay, if we do not like we this loop will start from 0, and I will be the knowing which level of iteration the loop has gone. So here as well, okay, I'll go ahead and print I there as well, and we execute this code. All right, when this loop started, okay, hello, wait again, I was 1, 0, and so on and so forth till it gets to 4, all right, excluding 5. Now, and we add what is wrong with my mouse? If you come here now and we add this loop should start from 1. That what it now means. So if you execute this 1, okay, I believe the general understanding of for loop has been understood. Okay, so now okay, what actually happens? Okay, repeating a particular block of code, like this hello world for 5 times to print sequence. Let's say we have a string here for s world. Okay, let's just use world there, right? World now, world. All right. If we go ahead and say print world here, okay. Let me try to explain this in a easiest possible way, okay. So if we print s here, okay, what happens is it prints word 5 times, okay. But we don't want to print word 5 times, okay. We want to print each of these characters one by one, all right. So probably what we would have done, okay, without the loop is we would have done this, okay. We would have done this. Print s of index 0, okay. We all remember what that means, I believe. We all remember what that means. So this is what we would have done, okay. 2, 3, okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so one more there. Something like this. This is what we would have done. Sorry, 2 and 3 and then 4, okay. Let's call this out for now. So if, so like I said, if you wanted to print each of this word out, all right, this is what we would have done, all right. This is what we would have done, and if we execute this, it will run, all right. It print out the word, all right. Each character by character. Oh gosh, lost my area. Let me feel me. Lost my area by mistake. Exercise. Okay. So this is what you would have if you wanted to print this line by line, okay. So now Python now gives us the ability for us to actually do this in a more reasonable way, okay, with the for loop, okay. So we can do for I in range, okay, in range, and then print, all right. So instead of printing s, all right, what we want to print is this. What we want to print is this. Instead of printing s, all right, we want to print that, okay. But we won't actually put 0 there because remember I said before, once a loop starts, okay, Python will assign a value if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 5 times, okay. Python will assign an integer to this I, okay. So each loop as goes on, this I will increase, all right. So if we put in I there, we put in I there, and then we execute this code, you see it does that for us. Instead of actually doing this, instead of doing this, okay, instead of doing this, so instead of us doing this, okay, Python does this for us, all right. Question, ask, go unmute yourself and ask a question.
Okay. So you are saying if you put 4 in the brackets, it will print WROL without the D, right?
Yes, without the D. If you put 4 here, it will print it. It will go on and print this without the D, okay. Okay, so instead of doing this manually, okay, Python now brings in loop that where we can actually use it, okay, to print this out, okay. But then But then, okay, there's a problem in this loop, okay? There's a problem in this loop, right? So now, if you notice here, this number, we inserted this number ourselves, okay? That's because we knew that word is 5, like it's a 5 character word, okay? So that let's do this. Let me cut this out. Okay, let's assume we never knew this word. Okay, probably we come here and we say, I will not tell Python print the character that is index 10 in the string s. Now see what it does. Python gives an error saying string index is out of range. Okay, string index is out of range. Okay, because the word is not up to 10-digit word. Okay, so now Python now say, okay, fine, instead of using range, instead of doing this for I in range, okay, instead of doing this, and then you put in your 10 there, okay, and then you put in your 10 there, and now tell Python that Python should help you and print this integer, this string from the first one to the last one. So instead of doing this, okay, so if you cut this out, okay, let's cut this out, run this code. Oh, sorry, syntax error. We forgot our in keyword there. Okay, so for I in range, and then we execute this, we have actually what it ran. Okay, see what happened. It ran. Oh, what's going on now? Calm down. Okay, it ran. Okay, it printed the the first 5 word, and then when it got to the 6th word, when Python got to 6th word, it now said string out of range. Okay, that's because we are hard coding this value. Okay, this value is not dynamic. It does not change with the word and with the string s. Python now said, okay, if you're not using Python now said, if you're not using Python now said, if you're not using the loop with the string, what you should do to avoid such error, you use the keyword len of s, okay, which the len of s can never be greater than the actual length of this s, okay. And then if we run this, we'll have that perfectly well without the error of out of string index out of range. Okay, so now that's how Python said we should do it. Okay, so instead of us to manually say, okay, I think, okay, we now sit down, we now guess, okay, I think that word should be 7, we now put 7 and now run and have out of range. Okay, Python now said, don't guess it, use len, and len will always be. So even if this word increases, okay, even if that word increases, the len will always give you the exact word without anything, okay, without any error. So that was the loop we had here that caused the confusion when we use this len here. Okay, so I believe I've been able to explain that now. I believe we understand. Put in the comments, please. We understand up to this point. Okay. Okay, so I'll assume we understand. We all understand. And there's another way again, okay, of writing this for loop, right? Okay. There's another way of writing this for loop. Okay. And Python says, okay, so instead of
Please, I have a question.
Okay, what's the question?
Can you print that? Can you print that? This code. Let's see the output.
I should print this code.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Let me print the code. Now you've seen. Okay. So let me re-explain again because I think someone said he doesn't understand. So let me re-explain that code again. So I said, we know, okay, before we went into string, we did loop and iteration, okay? And the construct for writing a loop is for a variable name there, variable name in range, okay? In range, and then number of times we used to execute. Times to execute. Okay. And then our colon, and then code to execute. All right. Okay, this is our loop construct. Okay, our for loop construct to be precise. Okay, so which is for variable name in the range function, and then number of times to execute, and then the actual code itself to execute. So Alan said, all right, assuming, okay, assuming we wanted to print hello, okay, we wanted to print the word hello, all right, for 10 times, okay, for 10 times. So Alan said that what we would have done before we knew about loop would have been to do this as many times as we want, okay? So that is what we would have done, okay? But then Python now came and said, okay, I have loop, I have what can actually help you to do this, okay, in one line, okay? What's the question? Please unmute yourself and ask the question. Is so I'll continue. That person is not responding. So I said, assuming we wanted to print the word hello, okay? I wanted to print this thing 10 times, right? This is what we would have done, all right? Before the loop, we have done this manually. Well, this will actually make sense if I wanted to print like 2 or 3 hello. But what if in a case that I want to print like 50 hellos or 100 hello, right? You have done this till 100 times, right? So now Python now came and said, all right, fine. I have a solution whereby you can actually do this block of code in one line, and I will help you and repeat it as many times as possible, right? That's when Python now came with this loop. It came with for loop and while loop. You can use any one, right? So now we now say for the for loop, okay, that this is the construct. Python now say, okay, in order for me to help you and run this as many times as you want, use this construct for variable name in range, and then brackets open and close. How many times should I help you and execute this code? And then colon, all right? Then under me, give me whatever you want to give me, and I will execute it as many times as you want, all right? And this is the block of code, right? So this thing here, all right, is almost the same thing here. It's the same thing here, all right? The same thing here. Let me take this out. It's the same thing here, 10, all right? It's the same thing there, all right? So now, assuming, so now with this, now we can now actually come here and instead of putting the print how many times, we can now do the print once, and then Python will loop it for us, okay, as many times as possible, all right? So if we execute this code, okay, the printing works, all right, 10 times. So we don't actually have to do this. We don't actually have to do this manually, all right? So now Same thing goes with a string or even a list, all right? Assuming, let's taking this string here for instance, all right? Taking that string there, for instance, then the string word, all right? If, let's assume we wanted to print each of those characters there, all right? Each of the characters. So we can't say print s, all right? We can't say print s, all right? But if you say print s, it means just print the entire word again 10 times, word, right? But that's not actually what we want, all right? We want a situation where we can print each of those words one by one, all right? So now, if you can remember, all right, to print a particular word in string, to print a particular word, to print a particular word, to print a particular word in so to print a particular word in a string, all right, we don't actually to print a particular word in a string, we can do something like, let's say x equals to s of this, all right, s of index 0, okay? If we print this, all right, if we print x, let's go ahead and print x, all right? Let's print x and see what happens. Let's print x. If we print x and see, it prints w, okay? That's what we want. We want a certain way we can print each of those words. So if this prints w, that means we can repeat this. We can actually, excuse me, we can actually repeat this for s, okay? For the next word, okay? And then we print y, okay? And you see, it prints different integer, okay? Like different character. So that means if we look at this sequence, we can actually write it in a loop, all right? So now we can do something like for, okay, for I in range, all right? For I in range of what, all right? The word word is a 5-letter word, all right? So in range of 5, all right? Now remember, if you do not specify the starting point, all right, this loop will start from 0 by default, and that's what you want. And because you want this to start from 0, right? So now what we want to do here is now print, all right? We can now print. We can now print s of I, because remember I said that each time a loop begins, the I is being assigned an integer starting from 0. That's if the starting value is not being specified, okay? So now this I here will start from 0. So now if we run this, if you run this, this will give us what we want, all right? It works very well, all right? But the problem here is situation where we are hard coding the total number of character here. That's the problem. So what if we say that 10 here? What if we not knew, like what if we not know that the word that the string s has a total of 10 or 5 characters, and then we come here and we use 10. Python will tell us that string index is out of range, okay? Python will tell us that the string index here, okay, is out of range, all right? So now Python now provides us with a more dynamic and convenient way. So instead of hard coding this thing, we now use the len keyword. Remember that the len keyword will always return the total number of words there, all right? So if you use the len of s there, okay, use the len of s there, this loop will actually run very well without any problem. Even if this increases for any reason, that increases, this loop will still run very well. I believe I've been able to explain that well now. Is there any other question? Just raise your hand and I will meet you and you talk. So, okay, I believe everyone have understand now, right? So now, so that is it, okay? So now, another thing is, another way of writing this loop again is to say for I, instead of using the range function, we actually use the string itself for I in S, okay? Print I, all right? Now, if we run this, we see a difference, all right? Just print I, okay? Let me see, let me give a couple of print statements, empty prints here. All right. Remember, an empty print produces a new line, right? Produces a new line. So now I cannot show it off. Okay. Yes. Okay. So now I wanted to show you the difference between this and this other one. All right. So I'll cut this other one out for now. And you see this and this works. It does the same thing as the other loop. Okay. The only difference between this loop and this other loop here is that this loop you can keep track of where the loop is. This other loop you cannot keep track of where the loop is, meaning that you can come here. So as you want to print this thing with your index, right? You can come here and do something like I and do something like you can print I here, all right? And what happens is that this thing will print with its index. Okay, let me cancel the loop. Sorry. This other loop will print with index. Okay, index 0, 1, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's just the difference between that other loop, this loop, and this other loop. This other loop you can keep track of where you are. This other loop you cannot keep track of where you are. Okay, so that's just the difference. I believe looping now in strings is understood. I think I've been able to clear the confusion, right? I hope there's no other question, right, pertaining to that, because we are moving straight to list. Okay, so the same thing works with list, all right? Same thing works with list, all right? So assuming you want to print each element in a list, all right? Each element in a list, okay? We can do the same loop itself, right? And it will do that. So what we want to do here is, instead of doing len of S, we now do len of L. Okay, let's cut this out for now. Let's cut that one out for now. And then we execute this. And then you see. Without getting that one. Oh, sorry. L here as well. Okay. Since I'm dealing with the L now. And you see, it prints each of those items in that list. 4, 7, 9, 49, 10, 7, 7, and so on to the end. Okay. So assuming we had coded this one, all right, we actually guess how many items are in the list, and now I now guess that list has 100 items there, all right. When I do this, Python will tell me list index out of range, all right. So instead of hard coding this thing, we use this and that, all right, and that works as well. So that is that with the looping. Any question before we move? Actually, we haven't even touched this slide. This slide is more. So, any question? Okay, so I believe there's no question. So that's the similarity between strings and list, right? So now, what other things can we do with list, right? So now, list has built-in functions, right? There are much built-in list functions, all right? There are much built-in functions, all right? But these are few useful ones, all right, that we can use, all right? Remember, so we've talked about this one that says it returns the number of items in the list, all right? That's it counts the entire items and return the total number there, right? So now this other one, sum, from the word itself, what it does, it adds the entire item on the list, right? It gives you the sum of all the values in a list. Okay, and same thing with min. What min does, it returns the minimum number, and max returns the maximum number in a list. All right. All right. So let's write this. All right. So okay. All right. So we'll still stick to our list. So now what remember the lane. Remember the lane. What the lane does. You guys know that already. It return how many items are there. All right. So, but let's just run it and see. Okay. For the sake of running it, let's just run it and see. And then we print X. Okay. And we have 12. So there are currently 12 items on this list. There are currently 12 items on this list. All right. If you do that with the other one, okay, it's done 3 because there are actually 3 items on that list. Okay. So now we had the sum. Sum is a keyword that works with list. All right. What it does, it returns the total sum of all the elements in this list. So if we add up all these numbers here, that's what this will return. All right. So if we execute this, we have 272. Well, if you guys add this number up with your calculator, that should give you the same. Okay. So another one we have is mean. Okay. What mean does, it returns a minimum number on the list. All right. So far, if we execute this, we have 4, because 4 is actually the minimum number in this entire list. Okay. The entire list there. So now if we do the same with max, okay, max returns the maximum number on that list. Okay. And that should be 90. Yes, because 90 is the only highest number there. Okay. Okay, you may be thinking, why haven't I done it with this other one? Okay, but in essence, okay, you cannot, is it possible to find a maximum of a string? I don't think so. Okay, but haven't tried before. Well, let me just try it and see. Okay, so let's see, we do max of ls. Let's see what it does. I've not tried it before, but let's just see. We have an error. Oh, banana. Okay, banana. Okay, so I think I know what's happening there, right? So now the way the max works with string is that it's returned, when you say max, it means the string with the highest character. So now if you look at this string, all right, this string here, banana has a high character, right? So let's say if we increase this other string, we should have this has been the maximum, okay, of that string. Let's run it and see. It still give us banana. Why is it giving us banana? Well, I don't know. Yeah. I don't. Okay, I'll find this out. Then probably I'll tell you in next class how this works with string. I haven't really tried it before. Let me see how min works with that. Where is that being mean? Oh, okay. Oh, I think I understand now, right? So now, the way the max works, all right? The way the max works is the max returns, I think, the first element, if it's a string, okay, in this list, and the mean return the last element. But let us try it again. Let us put something else there. Let's put something like goods here. Let us put something like dog here, all right? Let's see how that works. So, like I said, the mean returns the last element. So we should be seeing this good, all right? If it's actually so. I still the other one. Oh, don't worry, but probably in next class I'll find out how this works and relate to you people. Or probably you guys can just find out how that works, right? But I basically use this with integer, the min, max, and sum. I use it most of my time. I use it with integers, list of integers. I haven't really tried it with list of strings. Okay. Okay. So when we've wasted, so we've exhausted our time. We exhausted our time. So probably the next class we might actually look. If you cannot finish this today, in the next class we'll finish it and then do something else in the next class. But okay, let's look at. So in the next class, I'll find out how the min, the max, and the sum works with list of strings. Okay, and I'll let you know how that works. So now we look at the list method. All right. There are much methods. There are so many methods, all right? So there are so many methods in the list, but with that works with list. Sorry, I mean, but these are the few useful ones, all right? Few ones that I've actually that I've been using myself. So the append, what this append does is it adds the value, whatever value you give to it, it adds it to the end of a list, and then the sort actually rearrange the list in ascending order. Okay, the count, yes, we did the count. It counts how many times this value x have repeated in the list. The index, actually it returns the index of a particular value. All right, the reverses the list. Okay, from back, it turns the back to the front and the front to the back. Okay, then remove means remove the very first occurrence of the value x, and pop means remove the last item. Okay, remove the item at index p. Okay, and that's what pop means. Then insert means to insert into the list. That's without actually overwriting. Okay, so we will look at them one by one. Look at them one by one. This slide is much. I think we might actually stop here for today. In the next class, we continue. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's see how this list works. Okay, so the first method we have there is the append method. All right, we have the append method. The append method. So what it does, it adds something to the list of the last of a list. All right, so how it works is the list name, the structure, sorry, the structure is the list name dot append in brackets value to be added. Okay, that's just the structure of how it works. All right, of how this method, that's how it is. You have to change all this method. This is structure. You only change here when necessary. Okay, so now if we say L, let's say L, list L dot append 1,000. Okay, 1,000. Let's append 1,000. Okay, so now what this means is add 1,000 to the end of the list L. Okay, so if I print this, if I print L now, okay, if I print L now, all right, if I print L now, we should say 1,000 at the end. Okay, there it is. Okay, that's 1,000 at the end. That's what append does. It means append, add to the end of the list. Okay, now another method we have there is sort. All right, so the way sort works, if you see, the sort does not take in no argument. Okay, just no arguments there. Okay, so now if I cancel this and go ahead and put sort, go ahead and put sort there. Okay, and then print this L. Okay, what it does, it will rearrange this L in ascending order. Okay, so now you've seen 4 7 7 7 8 9 in ascending order. Okay, that's what the sort does. It works the same. it works the same with strings, okay? So if I do L of S there, L underscore S, all right, and execute this. What is going on today? L of S. Oops, sorry. So it should sort that, but it's not sorting it. Let me check something. Give me a few minutes. What? Okay. 15 watts. Okay. I don't know why that is returning that, but for any reason why that is doing that, I will let you know in our next class. Okay. It's not still sorting. Okay, for any reason, I'll find out why that is not working with list, and I'll tell you in the next class. But I think that is where we will start for today, because I've been asked to round up. And sorry that this class started late. I'm sorry about that. It's not happening again. Sorry, it started late. So in our next class, we will continue from here. We will continue from list method, and then I'll explain to you again how the max and the mean and the sum works with the strings, and then we continue till the last slide here, list comprehension. Okay, so in our next class we will continue from here. Then actually we are only 22 people on attending this class currently. Mean 20 that minus the host and I. Okay, so we have 20 of you people there. People that actually submitted the tax were over 75. I don't know where the 50 came from. Well, I don't know how you guys will help me pass this information across to them. That in the next tax, when giving the next tax, please consider those 4 factors that are left with you guys. Okay, one of that factor was real world kind of experience. Okay, real world experience, or should I say user friendliness. Okay, and this one has 20 marks. Okay, and another thing is commenting. Okay, I think it's a good practice to comment on your code. It helps. Like it helps because at times, even you go back to reference your code and you might get lost. Okay, so at times it's good to comment on your code, at least portion of your code. Just comment, small commenting. Okay, it helps. And then the other one again is the other one again there we have there is structure. All right, and or should I say structure or arrangement, or should I say arrangement of code, right? So I said by default that Python does this, so that's 320 marks. Okay, so and the last one is please solve the actual task. Please solve the task. Like the task we were asked to solve, 100 degrees Celsius. 100 degrees Celsius is equals to 200, okay, and 12 Fahrenheit. Because what I did was once I run your code and I put in 100 Celsius, if I don't get this as an answer, you haven't solved the task. Okay, so try and solve the task. That alone carries 40 marks. So if you can just solve the task plus the 20 marks, you're good to go. Okay, So please, I don't know, pass this information to the rest of them. I don't know how, but just pass it to the rest of them. Okay. Someone has a question, please. Ask a question and let's run up.
Okay. Thank you for the class so far. So I'm trying to understand the difference between user friendliness and structure. Like
Okay.
what's like I'm trying to confuse the two terms together, user friendliness and structure or the arrangement of code. Please, can you just
Okay.
expatiate on that, please?
Okay, user friendliness. Let's say you are going to an ATM point. Okay, let us say an ATM point. Okay, and you asked for your PIN. All right. Okay, you asked for your PIN, and usually the PIN and people's PIN are integers. Okay, we know that. Okay, we know that. So assuming someone had a PIN of, I'm not saying that that's someone's PIN. Assuming someone had a PIN of 0000. All right. User friendliness indicates that, let's assume you are going to an ATM machine, okay, and then an ATM, sorry, not ATM machine, an ATM, and then the machine asks you to input your PIN in what? Okay, I'm typing 000, okay, 40. Okay, let's assume that someone who is aged, okay, someone who is aged, and probably the PIN is something kind of complex, okay, like let me say, let's say something like let's say something like 7 is involved somewhere, right? Okay, that means for any reason, okay, someone forgot how to spell 7, okay, that's a problem, okay. That interface not that user friendly, okay. Or let's use our last task where you ask the user to choose either Celsius or Fahrenheit, okay. They use you don't expect the user, okay, to come in and okay and do something like this. It's not say okay input you not say input your units, okay, and then you expect the user to come and type me that can do mistake in spelling and come and start typing Celsius, okay. Okay, but look at something like this where I actually print, okay, and tell the user 1, or okay, press something like press 1, okay, for Celsius, okay, and now that's another one, press 2 for Fahrenheit, okay, and I think that's still like it, or for Fahrenheit, okay, all right. So this interface, and this other interface, which one is more easy? Which one is more user friendly? Okay, I think this one is more straightforward and easy to use. Okay, most of us even said that we should enter C. Okay, it's very okay, but at times someone can do mistake and use big C, and you know that Python is case sensitive. Okay, so now for the structure and arrangement of code, well, as I said, by default, Python does that, okay, because there's a programming language that you can have something like this where you reference something. Let's say you print something like A above and down your line of code. That's something like A is equals to, okay. There's in C++, this code will execute, okay. If it's, but in Python, it will tell you name A not defined, okay. That's because like structure in a sense that let your code flow, like let it be like story from top to bottom, okay. But by default, Python will do that, okay. So if I come and say something like this, okay, if Python did not allow this, like didn't actually check this, okay, and then along your code, I'm seeing A, then I go up here and I can't find A, I'll be like, where is this A coming from? I have to come and start looking for A at the down part, okay? So you structure your code well, but by default, Python does this, okay? That's basically the difference between that user interface and that the user friendliness and the arrangement of code, okay? All right. Dot upper is a method, yes. So I believe I've answered your question, and there's no other question again, I believe. Okay. So that is that for today's class. And in the next class, we will continue from here. Okay. We will continue from here. Thank you very, very much. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Xavier, for your time. All right. So good night, everybody.